And I just changed the topic, by the way. So I'm not discussing Vishvitama prayers. I'm discussing this Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya-Lila, Shikshashtakam. That's what I'm discussing now. And I'll be discussing this whenever I'll speak through and through. So this we are discussing Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya-Lila, chapter 20. If anybody has this, they can open this. And we are discussing the Shikshashtakam prayers. I thought this is more relevant because we all chant Shikshashtakam prayers. In temples you chant daily. And we should understand what is the import of these prayers while we are chanting, and we can meditate on them, because these prayers are the essence of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching. In fact, Prabhupada writes in the summary. Prabhupada writes in the summary of this chapter, in the beginning, that Bhaktivedanta Thakur, in his Amrit Prabhavashya, he has said that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed his nights tasting the meaning of Shikshashtakam prayers in the company of Swarup Damodar and Ramanand Rai. So, and Bhaktivedanta Thakur mentions that this Chaitanya Shikshashtakam Mahaprabhu has compressed the teachings of all scriptures in just 8 verses. So we should know the meaning of this, and therefore I thought, let me discuss this Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya-Lila, Shikshashtakam prayers, chapter 20. Now let's start this. So I am on text 20.1, Antya-Lila. Okay, and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he is the author of this book, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and he writes, Premod Bhavita Harshay Irshaya Udvaiga Dainyarti Mishritam Lapitam Gaura Chandrasya Bhagyavadbhir Nishevyate. This is the first verse in Sanskrit. Most of this book, Chaitanya Charitamrita, that's in Bengali, because that was an intention of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami to in fact make people know these teachings in a easy and understood language, and that was his contribution. Because most of the books of Goswamis are in Sanskrit, like Jiva Goswami's Shat Sandarbha. So Shat Sandarbha means 6 books. 6 Sandarbha means chapter, and Shat means 6. So there are 6 chapters. Each chapter is actually made into a book, and each book deals with a particular aspect of Krishna consciousness. For example, the first Sandarbha is Tattva Sandarbha, which establishes what is the importance of Bhagavatam above all other scriptures. And then the next Sandarbha is Bhagavat Sandarbha, which establishes that the aim, that the subject matter of Bhagavatam is Bhagavat, that is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the third Sandarbha is Krishna Sandarbha, which establishes that who is God? He is Krishna. And what is his nature? And what are his unique pastimes which prove that he is God? That is Krishna Sandarbha. And then there is Paramatma Sandarbha, that Krishna also acts as super soul in the heart of living entities, and also as time. And then there is Paramatma Sandarbha, then Priti Sandarbha, that the aim and object of life is to love him. And there's one more Sandarbha, so I'm just missing that 6th, and I'll just remember that, I'll just tell you. But let us continue. So there are 6 Sandarbhas, 6 books, but they're all in Sanskrit. And that's the problem, and the Sanskrit is very technical, and even if you translate them into English, you don't get the exact meaning of those Sanskrit verses. You don't get the exact impact of those books as when it is read in Sanskrit, original Sanskrit. We can read in English, no problem, But we don't have to do. We don't have to read all those books. We can simply read Chaitanya Charitamrita by Krishna Consciousness Goswami. He read all those books, he did a homework, and he put it in simple language, and Prabhupada put purports to them. So this last chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Shikshashtakam prayers, this is actually helping us to understand what is love and how do we attain that love, which is all mentioned in Priti Sundar by Jiva Goswami. So that is why this book is mostly in Bengali. But anyway, the first verse of each chapter, Krishna Goswami, he puts it in Sanskrit. And here is the Sanskrit verse. And he says here that only the most fortunate will relish the mad words of Mahaprabhu. He says, Bhagye vadbhir nishevyate. Only the bhagya. Bhagya means destiny. Only the most fortunate will nishevyate. Nishevyate means enter. Only the most fortunate can enter into the mood and understanding of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is, this word is used, lapitam. Lapita means, Prabhupada defines as talks of a crazy man, a madman. So Gaura Chandra, he is called a madman. And in fact, Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes in one of his songs, which the name is Baula Geet. And Baula means mad person. And he writes that the aim of life is to become mad in love of God. That's the aim of life. And Mahaprabhu was talking like a madman, mad in love of God. And in that madness, he is tasting the meaning of Shikshashtakam. Now this madness is different from normal madness. This is spiritual madness. And what is the difference between spiritual madness and material madness? The difference is that in spiritual madness, you can see reality, as opposed to material madness, where reality is hidden from you, and you can see illusion, you can see hallucinations and whatever. But in spiritual madness, you can see reality as it is, because it appears as madness, but it is not madness. It is that spiritual madness is samadhi, or trance, or perfect focus on Krishna, and absolute forgetfulness of material world, even of a body. So Krishna Consciousness says, Krishna smriti jar, deha smriti nahi yaar. So as soon as a person remembers Krishna with full focus and love, he forgets his body, he forgets everything around him. And that is why he appears to be mad, because he forgets everything around him. Just like Jad Bharat, he was appearing as mad to people. Sukdev Goswami, when he first appeared in front of Parishit Maharaj, Bhagavatam says, children, they were throwing stones at him, and they were saying he's mad. He forgot this material world to such an extent. He forgot his body to such an extent that he was not even wearing clothes. He forgot whether he is wearing clothes or not, like Jad Bharat. And that is madness. That appears as madness to people. This is spiritual madness. Spiritual madness means intense focus and intense service attitude towards Krishna. And that's what Bhagavatam says, Loka Bhaya. This word is used. Evam Swapriye Nama Kirtaya. That verse is there, famous verse. And when a devotee chants his Swapriye, Swapriye means his lovable Lord. Swapriye Naam, when a devotee chants the name of his lovable Lord, then what happens? And sometimes his Jata Anuraga Uchchatitte, his heart melts, and sometimes he shouts, sometimes he cries, sometimes he becomes unconscious. Loka Bhaya, sometimes he dances like crazy man without in fact giving any attention to outside world or outside people. That's what happens. And this was a condition of Prahlad Maharaj. Bhagavatam mentions this verse in the context of Prahlad. He was doing like that. Or maybe people who are in love of God, like Yes, certainly people who are in love of God, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that is why it's called Lapitam. He was mad and crazy man. And that's what the aim of life is. Somebody asks you, what is the aim of your life? You can say, aim of my life is to become mad. That's all. Somebody can ask, if somebody asks, okay, who is Srila Prabhupada? If you want to shock him, you can always say, he is a mad person. And we are in sampradaya of mad people. We are a sampradaya of mad people. That's all. That's all we are. And because we want to become mad in love. To know love, that's one thing. To become mad in love, that is another thing. And that is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. What is the aim of life? Krishna Prem Pum Artho Mahan. That's what he says. Krishna Prem. Aim of life is Krishna Prem. Pum means for every human. Anybody who has got the human birth, he should try to attain Krishna Prem. But what is Krishna Prem? Artha Mahan. And Artha means valuable. Anarth means what is not valuable. So Artha means valuable. So Mahaprabhu says, love of God is the only value, is the only valuable thing which you can attain in this material, which you can actually attain in your life. Otherwise every other thing is invaluable. And that is why he says this is the aim of life. So this artha word, anything you hold as value, this means you are actually attached to it, is it? So if you know that there is $1 million in your cupboard, you will keep it safely because it is having value for you. If somebody tells you you have 1 million stones in your cupboard, okay, I have, but there's no value for that. So you don't keep it safely. You don't become attached to it. So anything there is value, you keep it safely. And because you keep it safely and you guard it, you become attached to it. And anything you become when you become attached to it, then you become obsessed by it and you want to attain it by any cost. So similarly, Krishna Prem, Mahaprabhu says, Krishna Prem Pum Artha Mahan. Love of God is artha. It is having value. And therefore, it's not just, when you understand it is the most valuable thing in your life, you become attached to that. And when you become attached to love of God, then you become obsessed and become mad in love of God. And that's what Mahaprabhu's his position is here. Krishna Consciousness Swami says he is mad, and in that madness, prem udbhavitaha, he is experiencing love, and he's experiencing many transformations of love. When a person experiences love, love is to do with emotions or Krishna bhavana, that bhava, that feelings, and devotee experiences many kind of feelings in relationship with the Lord. In fact, all his feelings become connected to God, to Krishna. And what Mahaprabhu experiences, he experiences harsha. Harsha means jubilation, Prabhupada translates as, or maybe extreme happiness. And all these, Krishna Goswami will explain why he is experiencing jubilation. He experiences envy. Why he is experiencing envy? Envy out of all emotions. And Udvaiga, he is experiencing, Udvaiga means, Prabhupada translates as agitation. Then humbleness, arti, lamentation, mishritam, all these feelings got mixed. And then he is experiencing love of God, love of Krishna. And Krishna Goswami is going to explain in this chapter how Mahaprabhu is feeling happiness, jubilation, lamentation, humbleness. Why he is feeling all these things, and he is linking all these emotions to Chaitanya Shikshashtakam, to every verse of Chaitanya Shikshashtakam. So when Mahaprabhu is feeling lamentation, he speaks some verses of Chaitanya Shikshashtakam, and is that. So from that lamentation, Shikshashtakam, 4th and 5th verse, they actually appear. Mahaprabhu makes them appear in this material world. Or maybe when he's jubilant, first and second verse, first verse of Shikshashtakam, that appears. And when there is Udvega means agitation, when Mahaprabhu is agitated, then 7th verse, that appears in this material world. So how these Shikshashtakam prayers, what are the emotions behind the 8 verses of Shikshashtakam prayers? That's what this chapter is talking about. Because devotion is all to do with emotions and intentions and the attitude behind your actions. That's what Krishna sees. Bhav Rahi Janardana. What is your bhava and what is your emotions? That's what Krishna is looking for. Because after all, that is what our consciousness is all about: thinking, feeling, and willing. And that's what Krishna is looking. Krishna is looking for your soul. And the characteristic of soul is thinking, feeling, and willing. And that's what Krishna is looking. Okay, what are you thinking? What is your thought behind your action? Why you are doing that? What is your willing? What is your intention? And the most important is, what is your feeling? What do you feel? And that is why Krishna came as Mahaprabhu, to feel what Radharani feels. That is why he came. We read in Chaitanya Charitamrita. That's what he's looking for. So this chapter is talking about feelings. What kind of feelings should be there in a devotee when he chants Shikshashtakam? What kind of thinking should be there in your mind when you chant these prayers? Because when you chant Shikshashtakam, if you don't have any feeling, if you don't think anything, any proper thought, if you don't have proper intentions, then we are chanting like a parrot. And what's the use of chanting? So this chanting of Shikshashtakam doesn't nourish our soul or consciousness, because soul has to do with thinking, feeling, willing. It doesn't nourish, doesn't help us to advance. And that is why this first verse is written by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami to help us understand that this chapter is summarizing the feelings behind these verses, the intention behind these Shikshashtakam prayers, and the thoughts of Mahaprabhu behind chanting the Shikshashtakam prayers. So this chapter is almost like opening a curtain. Okay, there's a play going on, and what is going behind the play? What is happening behind the play? The actors playing on the stage, but then after that drama is over, then you can understand, okay, what is happening behind that drama, how those actors were acting, what their intentions were, what their feelings were. So all these things this chapter is talking. That is why this first verse is very important. When you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, please read the first verse in Sanskrit. Don't miss it, because that verse is going to summarize the entire chapter. That Sanskrit verse, which actually Prabhupada translates in English. And that verse is going to help you to navigate towards, to navigate the entire chapter. What is actually going in the entire chapter. So he not only summarizes, but also gives us a hint how to read the chapters of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So that's one practical advice. When you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, when means you should read, of course, not when. You should read daily. And when you open this book, then read this first verse, meditate on this, mostly it will be in Sanskrit, and try to keep it in your mind when you read the entire chapter, so that you do not lose the line of thought, what Krishna Consciousness Swami wants to convey to us through the chapters, so that you do not lose yourself in simple stories and forget the import, and so that we do not just read those chapters like parrot and try to imbibe the mood of devotional service. And that is why I spend a little time on this first verse, text 20.1, Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya-Lila. So now you know why the chapter is written. Why such a big chapter on Shikshashtakam? Why? Now you know the reason. To help us understand the feelings and thoughts and intention behind those verses, so that when we chant those verses, we can imbibe those feelings, thoughts and intentions. And Mahaprabhu is helping us in this, to help us understand this, by himself explaining these verses and relishing these verses. That's why Prabhupada writes the meaning to this first verse in English I am reading. Prabhupada writes, only the most fortunate will relish the mad words of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which were mixed with jubilation, envy, agitation, submissiveness and grief, all produced by ecstatic, loving emotions. So, if we can appreciate Mahaprabhu's emotions and try to understand what he thought, what he thinks and what he intends, slowly these feelings and emotion and intentions, our mind and soul will imbibe this slowly when we as we become pure in service of Lord. And we can also taste these meanings to the degree of service, to the degree of purity we have. But nevertheless, first we should know this, and then when you know this, then slowly you can realize all these things. But if you don't know anything like this, then nothing is going to happen. There's no knowledge, then there's no realization. Ignorance cannot produce realization. Knowledge matures into realization. So at least we can know all these things as the goal of life where we have to go, and also to appreciate Mahaprabhu. When you read this, you'll be amazed what depth Mahaprabhu has when he speaks Shikshashtakam. What is a depth of his love and his thinking when he is speaking Shikshashtakam, and this will produce intense appreciation for Mahaprabhu and surrender to him. And he is unique. He is unique among unique. He's God. So that's one thing. And of course, today is disappearance day of Narottam Das Thakur, by the way. You all can go and read that about him. But he was another madman. He could understand. He could exactly understand what is mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And in fact, he was such a special devotee that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself gave him love of God. In fact, even before birth of Narottam Das Thakur, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was shouting in ecstasy, Narottam, Narottam. Where is Narottam? And people couldn't understand who is he. People thought Mahaprabhu was dancing in kirtans and shouting Narottam, Narottam. And people were thinking probably Narottam also means man and Uttam means great. So probably people were thinking Mahaprabhu is saying, okay, devotees are Narottam. Devotees are great among people, Narottam. But nobody could understand. He was actually telling in future. He was forecasting the appearance of Narottam Das Thakur, and that's how special Narottam Das Thakur was, whom God was remembering even before his birth. In fact, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave love of God to river Padma, where Narottam Das Thakur was born, near river Padma, in a village, in village called as Kheturi. And there, in Kheturi district, there was a village, Gopalpura, near Padma river. He was born there. And Mahaprabhu went and he gave love of God to Padma, to actually give it to Narottam Das Thakur later. And he said, when he comes, give it to him, keep it carefully. And he gave it in form of tears to Padma river. And that's how special Narottam Das Thakur is. And today is his disappearance day. Today is disappearance. That's why also I thought I should discuss Chaitanya's Antya-Lila, because he was a madman. He was mad in ecstasy. If you read his life history, he was always singing the glories of Lord. and in fact, if you want to read his life history, there is a book, Narottam Vilas and Bhakti Ratnakar, where his life history is talked about. If you read his schedule, every evening they were actually every evening around 5-6 hours they were singing about Lord Chaitanya. Narottam Das Thakur, he was weeping throughout the kirtans. He was becoming unconscious, and he didn't know day and night like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was totally absorbed in the sweet pastimes and names of Sri Krishna. And his prayers, we read in ISKCON, beautiful prayers. And Srila Prabhupada says in one of his purport that Narottam Das Thakur's prayers are like thunderstorm. So when thunder strikes in the sky, then everybody can hear. There is no mistake. Everybody can hear. It's thunderstorm. A child, a scholar, a fool, it's all the same for everybody. Similarly, Narottam Das Thakur prayers, they strike in the heart of devotees. When you read these prayers, Prabhupada says, they'll strike in heart of your devotees, and you will have no misconceptions as to what these prayers want to convey to you. That's what Srila Prabhupada says. So that is Narottam Das Thakur. And he wrote many books. In fact, not many books, many songs. And those songs are recorded in his book. So there's a book, Prem Bhakti Chandrika, which is a famous book, his famous book, and from where we sing this Sri Guru Charana Padma. This is composition of Narottam Das Thakur, and this song is in that very book, Prem Bhakti Chandrika. So if anybody asks this Guru Puja, it is from Narottam Das Thakur, from Prem Bhakti Chandrika. And then he wrote a few other books like Prathana. He wrote, where he has composed songs and prayers for Lord Krishna and even Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, glorifying them and praying to them. These are the two most important prayers. And then rest of the time he was preaching Shat Sandarbhas of Jiva Goswami, most of the time, and other books of Goswamis. That was their job. The job was to print books and preach them among people, among common people of Bengal where they were preaching, or in fact Bangladesh, which is now Bangladesh. So they were editing those books under the guidance of Srinivas Acharya, Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivas Acharya, and who was the third one? So Shyamanand Pandit. These were three friends, and they were deputed by Jiva Goswami to go to Bengal and preach the books of Goswamis, edit them, copy them, and preach them in simple language, and compose songs on them. That's what they did. That's what Narottam Das Thakur did, because songs people can sing and appreciate. And that is this chapter. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is singing a song on Shikshashtakam. He explains, and right in the last verse, Mahaprabhu sings a song on Chaitanya, on Shikshashtakam. Beautiful song. Because songs, normal people can sing, they can remember. In Vrindavan, Prabhupada says in Srimad Bhagavatam, Yashodama is always singing songs. Gopis are singing songs on Krishna. They composed songs on Krishna in Vraj Bhasha, in Sanskrit, whatever. Mostly in Vraj Bhasha. And about various pastimes, or Krishna killing a Hasur, Trinavat, lifting Govardhan hill. They used to compose songs. And whenever they were doing any activities, they were singing. And Prabhupada says, this is how Krishna consciousness is so simple. You can compose, you can sing songs about Krishna while doing your work and be Krishna consciousness. That's all. So Mahaprabhu is teaching us, and Narottam Das Thakur did the same thing. So that is Narottam Das Thakur. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about Narottam Das Thakur. Today is Narottam Das Thakur Disappearance Day. So you can go and read in details, probably on net. But let us continue this chapter. And Krishna Consciousness says, he continues 20.2, Jai Jai Gaur Chandra Jaya Nityanand, Jai Advait Chandra Jayo Gaur Bhakta Vrind. This is often prayers to Panch Tattva, which Krishna Consciousness offers. And then he says, Ei mat Mahaprabhu Vaishe Nila Chale, Rajani Divase Krishna Virahe Vihavale. This is 20.3. And Mahaprabhu and Krishna Consciousness says, like this, Mahaprabhu stayed in Nilachal for 12 years. And he didn't know what is Rajani, what is Divas. Rajani means night, Divas means day. He couldn't understand what is day, what is night. Why? Because he was mad. That's what Krishna Consciousness says. He was practically in transcendental madness, and in that madness he couldn't understand it is day, night, because he was simply discussing the pastimes of Lord Krishna with his friends and chanting his names, and because of discussing about Krishna and chanting his names, Krishna Virahe Vihaval, he was feeling intense separation from Krishna day and night, and that separation in turn made him to discuss about Krishna and chant about him more and more and more. So when Mahaprabhu used to chant, he used to feel little solace when he used to hear about Krishna and chant about him. But then, as he continued chanting and hearing about Krishna, his separation from Krishna and his eagerness to attain Krishna increased. And when that eagerness and separation increased to attain Krishna, then to actually get some solace from that separation, he used to chant his names, discuss about him, and he used to attain some solace. But then again, as he continued chanting and discussing, his separation increased more, and then he used to become mad. But then to get some solace, he used to again chant and again hear pastimes, and is to give him some solace, but then again his separation increased. So Krishna Virahe Vihavale, he was continuously overwhelmed night and day by separation from Krishna. That is the ultimate teaching of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this condition he was 12 years. You can imagine, 12 years he was there in this condition. For us it seems almost magical, or maybe and perhaps impossible, what Mahaprabhu is exhibiting. For 12 years, how can a person stay in one room just weeping in separation from Krishna and day and night discussing about Krishna? It seems beyond anything. And that is why we worship Mahaprabhu, because he just didn't tell us what is love, but he showed us this is love. This is what is our goal of life. Prabhupada said, by the end of your life, you should become perfect before death. And perfection means that you should be able to sit in Vrindavan and chant Hare Krishna 24 hours. You should be able to do that. We don't do that, we keep on preaching. But we attain to a platform where we can do that, where we should be able to do that. Okay, sit, chant Hare Krishna. Prabhupada says you should be able to chant Hare Krishna, and of course taste these pastimes like Mahaprabhu is doing. Not exactly like that, but at least to some degree what Mahaprabhu is doing. So that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and that is his pastimes and ecstasy. So here this that is why Krishna Swami he continues. So I'm just reading the translation. Prabhupada says, while Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thus resided at Jagannath Puri, he was continuously overwhelmed night and day by separation from Krishna. Now this is and in that separation he spoke Chaitanya Shikshashtakam. In this mood, in his highest mood, he spoke Shikshashtakam, and he not only spoke Shikshashtakam, but he relished those verses, and he gave a commentary to those verses in this last chapter. So what is better than this, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu he himself composes a verse and gives a commentary, and not only gives a commentary but actually shows us by his actions, okay, this is what I mean to say, by his ecstasy. by his tasting those verses. So Mahaprabhu is a best teacher, and that is why it is said in so one of the names of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Sahasranam, there are 1,000 names of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu which are glorified by Kavi Kanpundas. He has written a book, Chaitanya Sahasranam, 1,000 names of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Like in South India, you read Vishnu Sahasranam. So similarly, you have Chaitanya Sahasranam, and in that one of the name of Mahaprabhu is in fact Neta. He's the best leader, and this is a name for Vishnu also. Best leader because he's best leader for devotees, or maybe like Bhishma Pitama says in his prayers, which I was scheduled to discuss today, but I didn't. He says Satvata Pungavanam. He says Krishna is the best leader of devotees. Satvata means devotees. And why Mahaprabhu is even more better than Lord Krishna, because Lord Krishna simply spoke what is devotion, but he didn't show us how to do that. But Mahaprabhu spoke about devotion. He showed us what is devotion, and also he gave a commentary on his own verses, and that is Chaitanya. That is why it is called. That is why it is said. So that is why he said. It is said that he is Namo Mahavadanyaya. He is the most merciful of all, most merciful. Whatever he could have done to help us in whatever way, he did it. And this chapter, that's why it is important to all of us to understand. I told you it's important to appreciate Mahaprabhu. It is important to appreciate Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy on us by his commentary, by his actions, and by his instructions. All three combined are there in this chapter. So Krishna Consciousness Swami continues. Let's come to Shikshashtakam. Now he continues. Sarup Ramanand ei dui jane sane ratri dine ras geet shlok asvadane. So Krishna Consciousness Swami says that Mahaprabhu was discussing with Sarup Damodar, Ramanand Rai, his two friends. In fact, in Mahaprabhu's Leela, they two are gopis, in fact, Lalita Sakhi and Shaka Sakhi, to assist Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in tasting the mellows of Srimati Radharani. This Shikshashtakam prayers is actually what is spoken by Radha, because Prabhupada will comment on this, because she is a pure devotee, and Mahaprabhu through Shikshashtakam prayers is revealing the import of pure devotion and the emotions of pure devotion in this chapter. That is why it is the last chapter of Antya-Lila. So that's the aim of life, and that needs some explanation, and that needs some demonstration. That's what Mahaprabhu is doing here. So he was discussing with Sarup and Ramanand Rai, and that is why he was becoming happy. So discussions about Krishna makes a devotee happy, and Krishna Consciousness Swami will say further. But Ratri Dine Ras Geet Shlok Asvadan. He was simply with two associates. He tasted transcendental blissful songs and verses. And what he tasted many books. So Sarup Damodar Ramanand Rai, Prabhupada mentions in the beginning that they were singing from Jagannath Vallabh Natak verses. So Ramanand Rai, he composed Jagannath Vallabh Natak. They were singing from Geet Govind, which was a book written by Jayadev Goswami. They were singing from Krishna Karnamrit, which was composed by Bilmangala Thakur. Very high books, very esoteric and very deep books, which probably we don't have any right to read them, of course, but we can read this chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita to get an inkling what was there in that books. And when we understand and try to read this chapter again and again, try to imbibe this, then slowly, as the heart becomes pure, we'll also become qualified to read those books. Geet Govind, Krishna Karnamrit. But that will take time. But this chapter, Chaitanya Antya-Lila, this is a door to those books. This is a door to those books. So you have to open this door to enter into that word, a word of mellows and the word of rasa, which in fact Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give us. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give us Unnata Ujjvala Rasam. So we were reading in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna Consciousness Swami, in the beginning of Antya-Lila, he says, Mahaprabhu came to give us Unnata Ujjvala Rasam. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur also, he sings in his song, Unnata Ujjvala Rasam, he sings in his song. So that he came to give the topmost ecstasy and bliss of devotion, and that's what he was tasting with his two associates, Saru Damodar, Ramanand Rai. And Krishna Consciousness Swami continues, 20th chapter, 5th verse. He says, Nana bhav uthe prabhur harsh shok rosh danya udvek arti utkantha santosh. So he relished various symptoms as he was chanting these verses. He was relishing various symptoms, and when he was relishing those ecstasy by chanting these verses, from that ecstasy came explanations and commentaries to these verses, where this chapter is going to tell us. So he relished symptoms of various transcendental emotions such as jubilation, lamentation, anger, humility, anxiety, grief, eagerness and satisfaction. You see, so many emotions. This is Krishna consciousness, Krishna Bhavana Amritsang. This is what we must be experiencing. This is what is expected from us to experience. Experience jubilation, lamentation, anger out of all anger, humility, anxiety, grief, eagerness, satisfaction. This will happen. We will also experience all these emotions in relationship to Krishna when we are Krishna Bhavana, when we are Krishna consciousness. As we advance in Krishna consciousness, we will start experiencing these emotions, a faint shadow of these emotions initially, but nevertheless we will experience, or a faint glimpse of these emotions, a drop of nectar, of a nectarian ocean of devotion, maybe a drop we can start experiencing. And that taste, what we will have, that taste will protect us from the taste of this material world. Otherwise, if we don't feel jubilation in connection to Krishna, we will feel jubilation in connection to material world. If we don't feel lamentation in connection to Krishna, we will feel lamentation in our miseries and in injustice done to us. If we don't feel humility in relationship to Krishna, we will feel weak-hearted in this material world. So if you don't feel anxiety in connection to Krishna, you will be anxious about your desires and fears and hopes. So Mahaprabhu is showing how to connect all emotions with Krishna, not only actions but emotions behind the actions, which are driving force of actions. Emotions are driving force of actions. Once you connect emotions, your actions automatically flow towards Lord Krishna. That's very natural. That's why Krishna says, Manmana bhav bhakto. Yeah, he says Manmana. He says, fix your mind on me. And mind has thinking, feeling, willing. So fix that on me. Connect it to me in all regards. But if you cannot, then mad bhakto, then follow rules and regulations and do some actions which can help you attain that platform of connecting your mind or connecting your thinking, feeling, willing with me. Those actions, those rules and regulations, which are in fact forced actions, which we are supposed to do in this stage, at this level, that will help us to modulate our life in such a way so that the goal of following rules and regulations is to attain emotions for Krishna. Maybe ruchi, rag, that's what the terms are. So he relished all these things. And Krishna Consciousness Swami continues, 20.6. Sei bhave nich shlok padiya, shlokera arth asvaday dui bandhuta allayya. So he would recite his own verses, expressing their meaning and emotions, see, and thus enjoy tasting them with his two friends. So he did three things. He would recite his own verses, Nij Shlok Padiya. He composed verses for a benefit, the essence of all scriptures. And he expressing the meanings and emotions. Sei bhave. And he not only composed out verses, but expressed their meanings and emotions. So he commented on these verses, and in the commentary, he not only said the meaning means the intention, but also the feeling, emotions. And that's his commentary, explanation. And not only did that, he also enjoyed tasting them with his two friends. So he did three things. And he's teaching devotees that we should be doing. He's teaching by his actions how devotees should behave, and that we should be doing. Of course, we can't recite our own verses now. We can't compose it. Hare Krishna. So we can't compose our own verses. But what we can do is we can read these verses and we can discuss their meanings and discuss not only the meanings and intentions, but also the emotions behind those meaning and the bhava. And also we can taste them with our friends. We can tasting means we can say our realizations. So that's what when you all so if you have to discuss Chaitanya Charitamrita with your friends, with your devotees, and you should discuss, then what we should be doing? We should be doing these three things. Okay. You read those verses of Chaitanya Charitamrita, any chapter. Of course, you don't make your own verses. You recite those verses, and then you express the meaning behind those verses, what you understand. And that meaning should contain intentions and emotions. Okay, what do you feel when you read those verses? And also enjoy tasting them and tell your realizations. That's what Mahaprabhu is doing that and teaching us. Bodhyanta parasparam kathyantascha mam nityam. That's what we have to meet with devotees. That's what we should be doing actually. So except discussing management and preaching issues, which we must do, that is also kirtanam. We also have to do these things to actually nurture and nourish our heart and Krishna consciousness. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did the same thing. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also was discussing about preaching in the daytime. So when he came to Puri, for first 6 years, devotees from Bengal, they used to come, and then after 6 years more, for first 12 years after his sannyas, devotees were coming, meeting them in meeting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Chaturmasya, and the Mahaprabhu in daytime used to ask them, well, how is preaching going on? He used to advise them about preaching. The devotees used to ask him question, who is a Vaishnava? And Mahaprabhu used to answer them. It's all recorded. And in night, he used to taste the imports of devotional service with his two friends, Sarup Damodar Ramanand Rai. That's what we should be doing as devotees. No, in daytime preach, and in night time you sing songs and taste Chaitanya Charitamrita. That's what you should be doing. Actually, yeah, that's what ideally we should be doing. Morning preaching and night tasting the mellows of devotion. So that's why Mahaprabhu says, Krishna Consciousness Swami continues, 20.7, Kon dene kon bhave shlok pathan, sei shlok asvadite ratri jagran. Sometimes Lord would be absorbed in particular emotions, would stay awake all night, reciting related verses and relishing their taste. So all night he used to get up. We can't do that, but probably we can sleep early and get up early, and then probably read Chaitanya Charitamrita and discuss with yourself. What's a big deal? Your mind is there, your eternal associate. So you can discuss with him and read this Chaitanya Charitamrita and tell him your realizations and the the import of these verses and taste them. So if you tell him like that, if you tell your mind all these things, your mind will be attracted towards Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and it will become your friend. It will become your friend. But now we are telling our mind all nonsense crap things. So it's getting frustrated and it wants to destroy us. So that's why it's an enemy. So even alone you can sit and do. That's what my point is. Because you're never alone. That's the point. Mind is there. Super soul is there with you. And if there are devotees, that's the best. That is a bonus. All devotees can sit and discuss this. And that is why 20.8 Chaitanya Prabhu says, Harshe Prabhu kahen shun swarup Ram Rai Nam Sankirtan Kalau Paramo Pai. So in great jubilation, now the first emotion which Mahaprabhu is saying, he's expressing, that is harsh, which actually Krishna Consciousness Swami mentions in the first verse, 20.1. He begins with this emotion. Now he's explaining in details what are these emotions, why Mahaprabhu is feeling these emotions, and what verses he expressing, and he's commenting when he's experiencing these kind of emotions. So in great jubilation, he's feeling jubilation. Why? In jubilation he said, My dear Swarup Damodar Ramanand Rai, know from me that chanting the holy names is most feasible means of salvation in this age of Kali. And that's the first verse. So while speaking this statement that holy name is the only and only way to attain Krishna, most feasible and most easy and the best way, he's feeling happy. That emotion we should have when we glorify the holy names of Lord. That emotion we should have when we chant the first verse of Shikshashtakam, Cheto Darpana Marjanam. A devotee feels happy, and a devotee feels happy to share the glories of holy name with devotees and also with non-devotees in certain limits. The glories of holy name, not everything about glories of holy name, because telling glories of holy name to non-devotees, that's also an offense. But to a certain extent, we can always tell them about glories of holy name to inspire them to chant, but not deep concepts about glories of holy name, so that instead of getting inspired, they become doubtful, and that this can't happen. They can't even imagine the details of chanting of holy names, and they'll get into doubts. But whatever inspires them, that's good. That glories we can tell. That's no problem. And that's why Mahaprabhu is becoming harshe. He's becoming so happy. And that's what Gita says, Tushyanti cha Ramanti cha. Devotees become satisfied, Tushyanti. And Ramanti means because they are satisfied, they feel ecstatic bliss in service of Krishna. So devotees are satisfied in service of Krishna, and they feel happy, Ramanticha, while discussing about his pastimes and glories. If we are not satisfied in serving Krishna, then we will not even have taste in chanting his glories. That's not possible, because first comes Tushyanti and then Ramanti. And Prabhupada says this in his purport. He says, that's jubilation. And Mahaprabhu then quotes this verse, 20.9. Sankirtani agge kalau Krishna aradhan Sayido sumedha pae Krishnera charan. This is, in this age of Kali, process of worshipping Krishna is to perform sacrifice by chanting the holy names of Lord. One who does so is certainly very intelligent, and he attains shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. This is commentary to 20.10, which is a verse from Bhagavatam. Krishna Varnam Tusa Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yagge Sankirtani Praya Rachanti Somedasa. This is the verse 20.10 from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 5th chapter, 32nd verse. Yagge Sankirtani Praya Rachanti Somedasa. All of us know this verse. Most intelligent people in this age, they simply chant the holy names. They don't chant holy names because because it is so easy, not only because of that, but because they can understand by full philosophical understanding that this is the only means in this age. There is no other means. And to come to this conclusion, that needs intelligence. Because the process seems so easy that it seems you don't need intelligence. But Prabhupada said that process is easy, but application is difficult. So yeah, it's easy, but the application is difficult. So to come to this conclusion that how such an easy process can help us attain such a difficult goal of life, which is even rare for Brahma to attain, love of God, that needs a good amount of intelligence. That is not easy. And in fact, Gopal Chapal, he got confused because of the very fact, because he was fool. And he said to Haridas Thakur, how can such an easy process of chanting Hare Krishna can lead you to liberation? What to talk about actually getting love of God and meeting God face to face? It's complete absurd. He couldn't understand because he didn't have intelligence. And Haridas Thakur said, you're a fool. You're a fool. That's why you can't understand. So it might be confusing just to see, come on, so easy, chanting Hare Krishna. Is love of God? No, but you need intelligence. You need intelligence to apply it properly, and you need intelligence to understand how this application will lead to love of God. Both. And for that you need to read philosophy and understand and follow also. By following you get intelligence, not just by reading, by the mercy of Lord as super soul. So that's why Bhagavatam says, Sumedasa. Most intelligent people will come to this conclusion. Fools will adopt a difficult path because they are fools. That's the point. They'll not be able to understand how this easy process can lead you to love of God. And that's what Mahaprabhu says. Nam Sankirtan hoite sarvanarthanash sar shubhodoy Krishna premullas. This is the commentary in one verse to actually Chetodarpana Marjanam. So Mahaprabhu says, Nam Sankirtan hoite sarvanarthanash. By Nam Sankirtan, all anarthas can be destroyed. But not only this, Sarv Shubhodoy, all auspiciousness will arise in your life. And not only this, Krishna Premullas, you will have love of God. So three things actually. All unearth get destroyed, all auspiciousness and love of God. In fact, the first verse by Rupa Goswami, Nectar of Devotion, actually this three effects he says by chanting, by doing devotion. If you read Nectar of Devotion, Prabhupada says what are the 6 effects of doing devotion, and there so 6 effects means 2, 2 and 2. In 3 parts you divide. So first 2 effects are Rupa Goswami says first 2 effects are that what's that verse? First 2 effects of devotion. Do you know that? Yes. So that is Klishyanti. What's that? I'm just missing from my mind. So first 2 effects are Kleshagni. So first 2 effects are Kleshagni Shubda. So Kleshagni means all anarthas are destroyed. Because all anarthas are destroyed, you get auspiciousness. Second effect. And third effect is Krishna Prem, that is Krishna Akarshini. So if you divide all 6 effects, it will come into two sets, 3 effects. And that is what this first verse of Shikshashtakam is all about. Chetodarpana Marjanam Bhav Mahadavagani Nirvapanam. That's the next verse. So heart will be cleansed and Bhav Mahadavagani Nirvapanam. Fire of material existence will get relieved. So this is the first effect, Sarvanarthanash. What is unearth, what is meaningless to your life, it will go away. So Chetodarpana Marjanam, the dust on your heart is meaningless, it will go away. And the fire in your heart, in your soul of modes of material nature, which is actually frustrating your life, that will go away. Sarvanarthanash. Then Shreya Kaireva Chandrika Vitarnam Vidyavadu Jivnam. And the next 2 effects are that that you will get good fortune, Shreya Kairiva Chandrika Vitanam, good fortune of meeting devotees, and Vidya Vadu Jivanam, and you will start getting bliss in devotion. Vidya means not knowledge here, but bliss. That's real Vidya. So automatically you will start attaining bliss, and that is Shubda. That is the second effect. That is auspicious for devotees. Auspiciousness for devotees is this, that you get association of devotees, and you get bliss in devotion. Any other thing is unauspicious. We don't consider that auspicious. So that's second. And third effect is Krishna Prem Ullas. We will attain love of God. That is Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam. Third effect, not just love, Krishna Prem Ullas. Ullas means, Prabhupada says, the flow of love. We will start experiencing enthusiasm to attain love of God, or we will start feeling enthused in love of God, and our actions, our thoughts will be inspired by love of Krishna. Not maybe exactly love, but even a faint glimpse of that love. That's enough for to make our lives perfect. That's the third effect of chanting holy names. All this we can attain by chanting holy names. Sarvatmana snapanam param vijate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. So Sankirtanam means sang means association of devotees, and Kirtanam means chanting of holy names. The chanting of holy names in association of devotees, we can achieve all these three effects: Sarvanarthanash, Shubhodoy, and Krishna Prem Ullas. Yeah, that's there. So that's what this first verse of Shikshashtakam is all about. And about this verse, I am going to discuss in the next class. Now, I didn't start Shikshashtakam today. I was just giving you a preamble of what Shikshashtakam is all about, which Krishna Consciousness Swami discusses in Antya-Lila 20th chapter, 1st verse to 11th verse, 1st verse to 10th verse in fact. And then he starts this verse, Chaitanya Shikshashtakam, first verse. I've given you a small glimpse how this verse, how Mahaprabhu is giving the meaning of this verse, and also he's giving the emotion behind this verse, emotion behind chanting the glories of holy name, that is harsh, that is jubilation. We should feel extremely excited and happy to tell the glories of holy name to oneself, to all devotees, to the entire world. And he is tasting that. On the top of that, he is tasting this verse, and how he tastes this verse, that we will discuss next time. And Mahaprabhu is continuing ahead. Krishna Consciousness Swami is giving a glimpse how Mahaprabhu tastes this verse, and then we can directly dive into other shlokas of Chaitanya Shikshashtakam and discuss what is Mahaprabhu trying to convey to us, so that we can make our lives perfect. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So is there any questions? Anybody? Hare Krishna. Yeah, done what from you?
Spiritual envy.
Yeah, spiritual envy, yeah, that's a secret. I will tell you afterwards. That's a secret. Yeah, that's a good question actually. Yeah. Okay. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Thank you so much for being so our goal is to come to this point of but the point is still not out of lust, anger, greed.
So yeah, continue. So
the thing is, what benefit is there for a person who is bodily conscious life?
Well, what benefit is there? The point is, why do you want to know the goal of life? So, goal of life is love of God, but then we are in lust, anger, greed. So what benefit is there to talk about goal of life, love of God? But Mahaprabhu said, no, you should know the goal. Because if we do not know the goal, if we don't appreciate where we have to go, and if we don't get a desire to go to achieve that goal, then we will never achieve it. And we are doing, then what we are doing? Why we are following the process? Why we are driving the car if we don't know where we have to go? So the benefit of reading all these things, and in fact if there was no benefit in reading all these things, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami would not have even put this in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishna Goswami, he was very scholarly, and he was very intelligent. In fact, he was a direct empowered soul, and he didn't put anything in Chaitanya Charitamrita which would in fact harm us, because then there is a depth, because then there are books like Govind Lila Amrit, Krishna Karna Amrit, which are more detailed, which Krishna Goswami didn't put in Chaitanya Charitamrita. In fact, he put whatever is required for us to know what is goal. So if we read all these things, we'll get a desire to attain them. That desire we will attain. So just like if we tell you the goal of life is love of God. Okay, so why we are telling you goal of life is love of God? Because you know and forget? What's the point? We are again telling love of God is a goal of life, so that we get a desire. Okay, I want that, and with that wanting, when we do sadhana, then we will attain it. And that's what actually Prabhupada mentioned Chaitanya Charitamrita, Rupa Goswami's verse, Tatra lolyam ekalam mulyam. So that greed to attain that goal, that will only help you to attain that goal. So what is all sadhana all about? What is all about? Chanting and following rules, regulations. It will help us purify our heart. By chanting and following rules, regulations, we will purify our heart. And in that purified heart, with that purified heart, if along with that we read about the goal of life from Chaitanya Charitamrita, that's enough to read, nothing else. No other books you need from Lohi Bazaar or anything. Just read this and the comments of Prabhupada to keep us on track. And if you read this again and again, then that purified heart will become eager to attain this goal. And more the eagerness we attain, we develop to attain a goal, the more our heart will become pure, faster than before. That eagerness is actually so it will act like a solvent and an acid to burn all your anarthas which are there in your heart, which are in fact there in your heart. So that is why the benefit of reading these chapters, this Antya-Lila and goal, why Krishna Goswami is putting there, to help us develop a desire to attain them. And the desire will help us to advance more. The desire to attain love of God will actually inspire us to do a sadhana, will enthuse us to chant more, because chanting is the only way to attain love of God. Will inspire us to serve Him, to inspire us to preach Him, do something for Him, so that we get His blessings and attain love of God. And that will help us in a sadhana. So both ways it helps. So we are in bodily concept of life, we are lusty and all this nonsense. So we are not saying that just by reading this chapter you will get love of God just in one day. That doesn't happen. And we will start tasting all these things. No, it's not going to happen like that. But we will start. We will develop a eagerness to attain that taste. And that eagerness will inspire us to do sadhana with focus, with full enthusiasm, so that we should do sadhana to actually taste that taste. So now we have that taste in knowledge and theory. At least we have in knowledge. Now I want that. Now how to do that? I should do sadhana, more fixed and more focused way. So, and that will purify your heart more. And that is why these chapters are there. That's the need of reading all these things. Is it clear? Is it okay to you?
Yeah. Thank you so much for this. For translating. Because when we read this, when we get depressed and when will we ever?
No, there's no question of depression.
Focus on.
Forget all these. To become depressed is also a disservice to Krishna. That's also wrong. Should be enthused. Okay, so Praveen Prabhu, are you there on the call?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Prabhu. Actually, I want to close here because I have another class here in Dallas.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So,
yes, Sridharshan Prabhu told me.
Yeah.
So, Prabhu, you have a class at the Dallas temple very shortly, maybe in a few minutes. So, we end the call here. And Prabhu, I'll schedule you again because we want to hear more about the Shikshashtakam from you. Sometime later.
So thank you very much to all devotees for allowing me to speak, and
Your contact recording has stopped.
And all glories to Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Jai. Hare Krishna.
You just finished the kirtan, right?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Good morning. Great.
Hey, Hare Krishna.
What's that Prabhu's name?
Who?